All right. As I love being on the police side. I love being on the prosecutor side. So it's kind of like a little switch for me, but trying to look at it from a defense attorney's viewpoint, when Michael Brown gets in front of that jury, he's going to have to give the jury an alternative storyline. And the storyline, I think, and we've talked about this before, even Phil, we talked about this months ago, is that the Michael Brown is going to hang this all on James Burke, his own proclivities for prostitutes, his own incompetency as the commissioner, and having like a real bare bones investigation, like one part-time detective on this, assigned for a couple of years, the refusal to work with the FBI. How would anybody conceivably refuse to work with the people who've got the most money, ability, manpower? So I think what he would do, if I was Michael Brown, I would hang it all on Mr. Burke and say he slow walked this, he underfunded it because he himself knows who did it. Maybe he himself is associated, but hang it all on him. Give them an alternative bad guy to Rex Heuermann.
Mike, one of the things, and you hit it on the head, that's what they're going to blame it on. They're going to blame it on this guy. And he made himself an easy target.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was a great deal of corruption out in the Suffolk County Police under Chief. He never was commissioner. Chief James Burke. You see, he's a 4-star chief, but he ran the Gilgo Beach investigation. He also apparently, was appointed by someone named Balone. He was appointed to that position to run the investigation and to be the 4-star chief. But there were allegations that he was frequenting prostitutes and in fact had sex with a prostitute inside a radio car. So that makes this even better, because we know that the specter hanging over this case are escorts, and that Rex Heuermann, he had a proclivity for hiring escorts, and the women who were killed by him were escorts. And these have become known as the Gilgo Four: Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Bartolome, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. Now, won't it be easy for Michael Brown to say, how do we know that Chief James Burke, who you see in this picture, that he wasn't part of this whole escort ring? And he may have even known Rex Heuermann. Maybe he was in on it with him. Wow.
Yeah, Billy. Yeah. It's going to be easy for him because he doesn't have to make it up out of whole cloth. The best way to tell a lie and tell a convincing lie is you start out with a few granules of truth, and then you weave an entire web from that around it, and you surround this one piece of truth with a lot of lies. So he could start off by saying, Chief Burke had liked the escorts himself. He knew them. He utilized their services. He was caught and he was arrested. So he's got already for beating a prisoner. So he's got an arrest record. He's a felon. He did time. He gets out. He's arrested for soliciting in a park, an undercover agent in a park for sex in 2022. So he's got these proclivities long now, and he had them years ago. The allegation maybe it wasn't proven, but the allegation that he did have relations with a sex worker in a car. I think at one point he was living with a woman who may have been a prostitute too. I'm trying to remember. So Michael Brown could take a few actual facts that have been established and weave in a whole scenario that there was this sex ring going on in Suffolk County, and that Rex Heuermann and maybe other people, like for instance, people who may have been involved in the death of Shannon Gilbert, where they all kind of knew each other, they all shared the girls, they all talked to each other, whatever it happens to be. He could take that little grain of truth and turn it into a huge boulder, and then just basically try to give that jury to say, look, Rex Heuermann, he's not the nicest guy in the world, but there's a lot of evidence that is very inconclusive. James Burke is the guy, because nobody could be this incompetent at running an investigation. He did that deliberately to protect himself and his friends and everybody he knows in this little group. And therefore, that's why he never cooperated with anyone. It's New York State troopers. He never cooperated with the FBI. And so he did it purposefully to hide his own and his friends' guilty actions. That's what I would do if I was Michael Brown. I'm Michael Brown. I'm not mentioning the name Rex Heuermann once at all during that trial. I'm going to mention James Burke a million times.
And Mike, let's not forget, in November 2016, Burke was sentenced to 46 months in federal prison for assault and obstruction of justice. And what it entailed was someone breaking into his car and supposedly stealing a tape that had some nefarious activity going on that tape involving Chief James Burke.
Right.
So how this is served on a silver platter to Michael Brown, to the attorney for Rex Heuermann. That is going to be the defense. Serve it to me. Give it to me. Rex Heuermann, of course, is absolutely innocent. And we'll get to that part again, a little later. But this is going to be the defense.